Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Kristin and Tina. We're so happy to see you this morning. We are your hosts. I'm Tina Prigge with Vagabond Creative Studio and Coolest Coast. This is Kristin Odell of KLOLLC, and we we are pumped up to see you this morning. Kristin, when I hear that intro music, it gets me so fired up and it makes me think of this. It makes me feel like full powered with coffee and conversation.
I do feel full powered today, and I'm drinking Death's Door from Door County Coffee today, which is like a super dark roast. So give it the day the punch.
I feel bad because I made coffee yesterday and I was going to put some milk in, and I smelled the milk and I was like, I'm not sure. And I put it back in the refrigerator because we don't have a kitchen right now. So I was going to have to like take it outside and dump it out. But then this morning, Jason was already having a coffee by the time I got up. I'm like, oh, don't use the milk. He was like, oh, I already did. So he's on like health now.
He didn't smell that? It didn't smell good?
I would never use milk without smelling it. But sometimes that makes me, sometimes I am too sensitive then and I pass even when it is fine, but.
Sure. I mean, I'll go a good week past the date on milk, provided it passes the sniff test.
Oh, right.
The sniff test is key, but it's comical to me that you let Jason explore the milk on his own.
Not on purpose. Honestly, I didn't realize that he even used the milk for his coffee. Otherwise, I would have dumped it out right away. I kind of thought it was just me, and I knew I would be up long before Teak would, want to put it on cereal.
I love it.
It's a reminder, do not procrastinate.
So wait a second. Does that mean you have to drink coffee without, are you drinking black coffee then?
No, as a matter of fact, because I knew that yesterday, right, when I put the milk back, I had messaged Jason like, oh, if you go to the store, can you bring milk? And he did. So there was a fresh gallon. So that's also why I thought we were safe. Like when there's a fresh gallon, I would just open the fresh
and leave the other one in there. I love it. You guys are a good team.
Thanks.
I totally text Doug on the way home, like, need buns for dinner, need milk, need whatever. And he's always so good about stopping at a gas station or the grocery store to grab it for me.
Nice. That is awesome. Speaking of Doug, happy birthday, Doug.
I know. He looks good. He makes 44 look pretty dang good. Don't you guys think?
44. That's a good year. I enjoyed 44.
Yeah.
And so this looks like a homemade cake. Tell me more, Kristin.
It is a homemade cake. I made him homemade carrot cake, which we kind of decided, I feel like it could be a health meal. It has like pineapple and carrots and walnuts and coconut in. Like, I feel like that all sounds like things that should be healthy for you. So.
Right. It does have some vegetables, whereas a chocolate cake doesn't have any.
Right.
And did it have a cream cheese frosting?
Cream cheese frosting, and I did 2 9-inch pans, so there was a cream cheese layer in the middle as well. So yes, we got to enjoy it. It is a super moist cake, which always, again, just makes your brain like it's so happy and delicious. And my favorite thing is actually to eat it left over, like cold in the refrigerator.
Yum. Yeah. I love carrot cake too. It is one of my top favorites, especially when it's moist. I've had drier carrot cake and I don't love that as much.
Right. So yeah, that was his request this year. And my mom is normally the carrot cake maker, but she was not available to do cake this year. So I got to pinch hit. And so yeah, Patty, I agree. I think he's one lucky guy.
Hey, Jason and I actually ran into Doug and your youngest daughter at the store the other day, and I asked about the birthday, and she was so excited. She's like, it was a carrot cake. So it sounds like it was really delicious.
Right. Yeah. My girls all eat it and love it, which it is kind of maybe a unique thing for kids to like. I don't know. You guys can tell us. I see lots of moms joining us today. Good morning, Raisa and Patty and Marcy. So fun to see so much traffic this morning.
Good morning, Marcy.
But yeah, tell me, like, would your kids eat carrot cake? I don't know.
Some of the, so yeah, my son, he's a teen now. And for his first, I don't know, many birthdays, we always made carrot cake.
Yeah.
Again, they loved it, because it's still sweet, but as a
Right.
mom, you feel kinda good because 'cause you're, like, sneaking in the veggies.
Right.
And then there's the dairy and the cream cheese frosting. It's really like a square meal.
I think I'm hearing that it's like a whole food. Maybe I should just go eat the last little piece with my coffee after the show. I mean, that's a
Oh,
breakfast thing, right?
I mean, I say thumbs up, go for it. Life's too short. Life
Right.
is too short not to take
I love
pleasure.
it. Raisa just said her kids will eat any cake. Yeah, I think I'm with you on that one, Raisa.
Last week my mom made a butternut cake, which
Mm.
I don't know, it's some sort of, I think the butternut liquid. Okay, now I'm making stuff up. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's like a liquid, kind of like a vanilla that gives it the butternut flavor, but that is really good too. I've never tried it myself, but it was really moist. So the cake is kind of yellow. The frosting was yellow. That's actually Teek's favorite.
That sounds amazing. Is it dense? Like a
Kind
butter
of, yeah.
pound cake or like an olive oil cake would typically be more dense, but really like sticky and moist.
Yeah. Now it's not quite like a pound cake. It's not butternut because of butter, but it's
Yes.
actually like a butternut. But yeah, it is a little more dense, kind of like a carrot cake.
Butternut. Hmm. Is there nuts in the butternut cake?
I mean, there aren't actually any nuts, but I think nuts may be what the butternut flavor comes from.
Yes, it's an extract.
Is it? Okay, so you're just giving me a hard time,
I
Kristen
don't even know
O'Dell.
if it really is. We can solve it. Butternut extract. Somebody tell us. I've never heard
Yeah,
of
I'm imagining for some reason that it's in like a little vial, kind of like vanilla extract,
got it. You
but I
have to
haven't ever seen it.
you have to get the scoop on this now so we know what butternut cake is made out of.
I have this little image now of like somebody like milking a butternut, just to get enough to make the cake.
Perhaps. You just never
So,
know.
you know what this is? Any guesses?
I did not know what this is, and maybe we can let our viewers chime in. I did not when you first sent this to me, I was like, "I don't know what I'm looking at here." It looks like spring. I
And
love how
I only
go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. You said you love.
I was gonna say it looks like I love the colors. It's nice and bright, but hmm,
Yeah, I love how, like, densely packed it is coming out of the ground, and you're right, the colors are so vibrant, it just looks so fresh.
right.
I only knew what it was because I knew what grows there,
Sure.
and I've never noticed it this early in the spring. I usually don't notice it until it's much later and it's much bigger. I'm gonna
Right.
tell you what it is. It is rhubarb.
Mm. That is so cool. Look at that bright, like the color makes sense when you say rhubarb. My first thought, which this would not be how this grows, was a beet.
Yes, yes, it kind of looks like it's a beet or something in that family.
Right,
But so what's interesting is, rhubarb has those huge leaves. So the
right,
way they get huge is look at how densely, densely, densely packed and folded it is.
right,
And so I didn't realize that it was sort of, born with all of that leafiness. I thought it kind of grew, which, it still grows, but it has enough to already open up once it comes out of the ground.
right. I feel like that is a picture that Jason could like paint.
Yeah.
You
He
know what I
did a
mean?
series that has like pomegranates and apples, and you're right, this would be gorgeous in that series.
Like it just the way the leaves are all crinkled up and stuff. I feel like it has a lot of depth to it.
Can
For the
you eat
record,
rhubarb leaves?
what?
Can you eat rhubarb leaves?
I have no idea.
Like I know you eat the stalk, but I wonder, do people eat the leaves or do you have to stop at the leaves? It just looks so delicious. Doesn't it look like something you'd want to crunch on?
Right, or something that would be good for you. We'll have to find that out.
Mhm.
Maybe somebody can tell us.
Don't try it though unless you research it because I have no idea if it's poisonous. It could be like putting the milk back without checking the date. Like I don't want
Right.
to give any misinformation.
I do love rhubarb though. There is something like that bitter tartness. It's so delicious in baked goods. One of my like favorite recipes from my grandma has like rhubarb layer, and then there's like a cooked custard layer in it, and it's like a torque. And
Yeah.
it's the season. Bring that rhubarb on.
Yeah, my mom makes a rhubarb meringue pie. It
Mm.
is one of my favorite things, and I finally figured out how to make it myself with a hand rolled crust and everything. So yes, as soon as this guy grows up a little bit, he will be harvested and put into pie.
I think that's a pretty early season harvest, if I'm remembering correctly. I feel like it's like May or June we're cutting those stalks already.
I think so, especially the fact that it's up this much already.
Right.
It won't be long.
I know. I always love to, because you always get so much and then it's done. We love to freeze it and like put it in Ziploc bags and then, pull it out in like fall and make little loaves of bread or something like that. It's such a treat then later in the year.
That's
Yummy.
amazing. Speaking of food, Jason has been grilling out these last couple of days. We've been sort of forced to grill out because we're remodeling our kitchen and we have no other place to cook, no place to dump the spoiled milk. But so it's been kind of a lovely treat because otherwise, we only tend to grill out from time to time. But it's been kind of fun that he's been doing more. Are you grilling already? Is it grilling season out in the world?
We are. So Doug does smoking on a Traeger all year round. He has a little like blanket that goes on it to keep it warm. So I think you guys have seen our turkeys and hams. Like we don't probably need to rehash that, but we do have our gas grill out and more ready. And we like to do like on Sundays, he will grill like 8 chicken breasts. And then we put them in a container like slice, and then we will eat them in wraps or on salad and stuff all week. And then you get like that yummy grilled, delicious flavor later in the week.
Yeah.
And we're obviously like we're doing hamburgers and hot dogs and brats and that kind of stuff. This weekend we did pork tenderloin on the grill. So delicious. So yeah.
That is awesome. Well, we've got grill masters, Doug
Right.
and Jason.
We're so lucky. So
Yes, we
Tina,
are.
is grilling an indulgence for Jason or a necessity for Jason?
Interesting. Once upon a time, it was an indulgence, and now it's a necessity. So, what is it when those two things meet? When your indulgence becomes a necessity? Is that bliss? Is that
Well, it depends. It may not be fun anymore if it's a necessity, right?
right?
When the hobby becomes like something you have to do, then it's not as much fun anymore, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. We haven't hit that point yet, thank goodness. So,
Right. That's so good. What's your favorite thing to grill?
I love hamburgers on the grill. I love the way that he makes his hamburgers. But most recently, he's been, there's like colorful peppers. They're maybe like this big. They're yellow, they're red, they're orange. He's been grilling those. They're so sweet and delicious. And with the grilled flavor, I could just eat a meal of those.
Right. That sounds amazing. I haven't thought about does he put them directly on the grill grate?
Yeah. Which when I saw that, I'm like, okay. But that's why I'm not the grill master, right? Like my mind doesn't work like that.
Right. That sounds, we roast a lot of veggies in the house in the oven. So like it makes sense that would work and be delicious.
Yeah. It was completely unlike I've ever had them prepared before. But yeah, so simple. And I don't even think they were necessarily seasoned with anything. I think it was its own sweetness. The flavor just came out, and so they were warm. And
just that
highly recommend it.
Char from the grill and the natural sweetness.
Gosh, am I drooling?
Yeah.
So, Kristin, have you seen this downtown? I drove down Franklin Street the other night, and you could view it from like every angle. It was pretty amazing.
I have. So as you're heading south on 10th Street, just in case you guys have not seen this, you're heading south on 10th Street. If you look over your kind of right shoulder as you're approaching the bridge, probably within like, what would you say, 3 or 4 blocks, you start to see it. And, during the day, it's impressive because it's just this absolute giant crane. But then at night, it glows like that. And it's so cool to see. And I do think it's totally worth just taking a drive if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, it totally is. I mean, it pops like a Christmas tree.
Right. So I've been following Connor, you guys, our buddy Connor Simers has this on his Boat Nerd page, Port of Manitowoc. They've been giving updates on what is happening with it, when it's supposed to leave. There's a tugboat on its way from New York to pick it up because it's going to be leaving Manitowoc soon. So if you are not following along on Connor's page, please go over there. I'm totally channeling my dad when I say this, but we are so lucky. Like, these things don't happen other places. So it's super cool. The day that it leaves, I'm certain it will be a pain in the butt. The bridges will probably be up forever because I cannot imagine that crane is going out of the Manitowoc River fully assembled. So how cool is that going to be?
It's going to take 8 days for it to go from land onto the barge.
Yes.
So because it has to go so slowly and meticulously carefully, it's going to take 8 days. That blows my mind. It's kind of like when you would see the space shuttle get moved on like those huge crawler wheels and it would just like, barely imperceptibly move down that path.
Right. That's exactly what it's like. And the other thing that's so cool, and I'm still trying to wrap my mind around this, is it is traveling via the Great Lakes and the St. Lawrence Seaway out to Maine. And so I'm also trying to just think about this amazing giant thing on a barge heading through the Great Lakes. Like, how cool is that going to be?
Right. So like if you were somewhere else in the Great Lakes and you suddenly see this sailing by, it would definitely be a head turner.
Right. Or eventually it'll be in rivers. Right. St. Lawrence Seaway is a lot of rivers and channels once it leaves the Great Lakes. So I can't.
And I think that I heard that after they're done with this one, that they have a contract to build a couple of more.
Yes.
So it'd be interesting to pay attention again and to see it from the ground up, because it didn't just show up there fully pieced together, right? Like the skilled craftsmen here in Manitowoc worked to build all of those pieces and they've been assembling it kind of like an erector set.
Mm-hmm. So like I said, get on Connor's page and follow along because its departure date, I believe, is approaching soon.
Yeah. And you know what I think is kind of poetic about this? So this is a crane built in Manitowoc. So it's not a Manitowoc crane. We know that company left, but once again, here is a crane of this magnitude being built in Manitowoc. What else is Manitowoc famous for building? Submarines. This crane is specifically built to handle nuclear submarines. So isn't that kind of a poetic come back around? So here's another crane built in Manitowoc specifically for submarines.
Right. Yeah, there's something that deeply ingrained thing that makes the Port of Manitowoc so cool are like all the reasons why it's being built here.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So Kristin, let's see. Today is April 20th, which I really can't believe how quickly this year is buzzing by. But earlier in the year, we talked about some goals. Do you want to check in about that?
Yeah. So you guys, in January and February, we kind of went through a series of goal planning and goal setting and how to get things set up for goals. And now we've really finished the first quarter of the year and should have ideally made some progress towards our goals or maybe have even checked something off the list. So first of all, Tina, how have you done with your goals?
With some of my major goals, I have not been quite as fastidious as I'd hoped. I do think about them often, but I don't necessarily execute as often as I had hoped when I wrote it down on paper. But I'm super excited because a very, very minor goal that I had was to stop like biting my nails or like futzing with my nails. And I'm happy to say, I don't know if you can see this, but all of my nails are now above my finger pads, which is amazing.
Right. Does it bother
feels better
how long they are, or do they feel healthy and good?
They feel healthy and good. I mean, I hope that they'll even grow a little bit longer. I used to have really long nails. And then I started cutting them when I learned to play the violin. And then from that point, I just started like chewing on them to keep them short, which was a terrible habit to start. And so I really had to like, think about not doing that, because you're right. They feel so much better now that they're above my finger pads.
Sure.
I can get like labels off of things now. I can.
Pull staples out of a paper. So Tina, tell us, now that you've been doing that and having success, do you not think about your nails as much anymore? Like, has it become habit to not chew them?
I still have to think about it. I still have to remind myself.
Sure. So it's getting there, but you're not quite all the way where it's just ingrained habit.
Yes. Yes.
Good for
But I
you.
will get there. I mean, the fact that I can show you these 9 nails today and be like, woohoo, is a huge accomplishment.
It certainly is. Congratulations. That's amazing. One of the reasons I ask about, do you still have to think about it, is sometimes once we're gaining some momentum with a particular goal and we don't have to think about it anymore, then it becomes easier to make space for the next one or the next thing. So hopefully, as you transition in here,
Oh no, we lost Kristen. Kristen's feed just dropped out, and let's see, here she is dialing back in. Kristen, we lost you for a second.
I have no idea what happened. That was weird, but I came back quick.
Yes, you did. That was awesome.
So anyway, congratulations. That is amazing.
Thank you. How's it going with your goals?
Good. So one of my goals was to pursue membership at the church. And the last thing that I had to do for this was write my testimonial. And this was like, for some reason, just really hard. The words I had all these things swirling in my head, but to sit down and actually write it was hard. And this weekend I was in a meeting and I was thinking about other things. I had a notepad with me and all the words came out on the page. So I have to type it up now, but that was the last piece. So I'm super excited to submit everything and check that off my list. And then, as many of you know, we talked about yoga in the beginning of the year, and I have not been as diligent. So kind of like you, I've completely almost finished one thing. The yoga I have gotten in a couple of times and it's been wonderful. It just hasn't been a consistent thing that's happened yet. So that is still on my list. And actually, I just made that at CrossFit. We are also writing goals on the board there. And my goal at CrossFit was to do yoga once a week. So I'm holding myself accountable to that goal. And we had to write them on a whiteboard. So there's a lot of other athletes that are seeing that goal. So I feel like I can't fail. Look at all these.
That's great accountability. That is great accountability.
Right.
And I know that you achieve your goal.
Right. So, so sometimes once we've met a goal, then it's time for the reward or the carrot or the self-care following that goal, right? And so I am super curious, what kinds of rewards or carrots or even just self-care do you guys do for yourselves to keep you full of energy and excited for life?
Yeah, that is a really great question. Well, do you want to tell us about yours, Kristen?
Well, one of my indulgences, this is more of a self-care thing, is just my hair. I go every 5 weeks and get my hair cut. I get a color every other. I have lots of styling products. It certainly costs me a decent amount of money, but it makes me feel good about myself. I mean, getting a haircut always feels good. It just gives me confidence. Like, it's the one thing that I just, especially after we had Grace, I'm like, I have to take this time to myself. So I started doing that and it's just never stopped and it probably won't. So that's one of my ongoing indulgences, just to keep me feeling good.
That's awesome. So if we ever see you looking like disheveled or that your hair hasn't been cut, does that mean you're not making your goals?
No, it doesn't. It could mean that there's other things going on that have really taken over my time and space availability. Or like, if you see me early in the morning, there's a good chance I'll have a baseball hat on. So you can't judge me for that. But yeah.
No judging.
Right.
Well, tell us about this, Kristen.
This is another thing that does give me peace of mind. So we have a lot of laundry. We are a family of 5. It's annoying that we never catch up with laundry. And Doug and I have been strategizing about how can we be a bit more organized. So we made an indulgence. This was kind of I'll call it a reward to just say, you know what? We're getting all new laundry baskets. So he went to Meijer and got these new laundry baskets, which are a little, I think they're called 2.5 bushels. I didn't know laundry was measured in bushels. So they're extra tall. That also helps so that our dogs can't get in the laundry. And then I had these circle, like there's sticker labels that you can write on with metallic marker or chalk markers. And so I said to Doug, go get 4. The color arrangements you guys see are our normal sorting colors. Like the girls know we always have these piles when we sort. So we just set it all up and everybody brings their laundry down and throws it in the right bins now. And then when we have enough to throw in a load, we just do it. And it makes me so happy. It's so dumb, but it makes me so happy.
No, that is so smart. It's so organized. I'm super impressed. And it's also smart that you have a centralized location so that everyone brings their laundry to that location rather than, you having to go to each room and figure out, like, okay, it's on the floor. Is this dirty or not? Okay, it's, on the back of a chair. Is this dirty or not? Like each person is actively making the decision that this is ready to be laundered and putting it in the right basket.
Right. I mean, let's be honest. We don't have time. I don't have time to be walking around and collecting everybody's laundry. And my children are all old enough to manage their own laundry. So they bring them down and they can sort them. And it's part of like being able to have our house run more smoothly. I guess that's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, brilliant. Have you taught them how to do the laundry yet? Do they ever like do their own loads or not quite?
Yes, Grace can completely throw in her own load. She knows how to do it completely. And the little girls can switch loads from the washer to the dryer and turn the dryer on. They're just not tall enough to be able to get soap in the washer yet. So in like another year or two, both of them will be old enough to be able to do that. So yeah, absolutely. Kids need to learn how to do it. Oh, Millie just got let in the office because she was telling us that she wanted to come in.
Aw. Well, that is a brilliant organizational tip. And I love it when you share your organizational tips because we can all benefit from that. Well, we have been having an awesome conversation. Before we wrap up, I just have to share this quote. When I read this, it's exactly what I needed to hear. This woman posted, "My therapist told me that if I had to perform at my best all the time, then it wouldn't be my best. It would simply be my norm." Just take a moment to read that, right?
I love that. And I love the comment that says, I need a moment to recover. Right? I'll be the first one to admit that I have not always taken the time to just pause and recover or give myself a break. Sometimes you're just on the go all the time. So yes, you can't be at your best all the time without some period of time where you rest.
Right, right. And you can't berate yourself for not always performing way, 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 way up here, right?
Right.
Because like they said, otherwise that would be your norm. If your norm is here, those peaks are the bonuses.
Right. So Tina, I just saw your tattoo. Is that an indulgence for you?
Yeah, this was a 15th anniversary present from my husband. It's 2 Japanese koi fish. It's like the unbroken circle of love. It's also like a yin and yang. Thank you.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like a bruise, but sometimes people think I burned myself. Like, oh my God, are you okay? But
that's all right. You know what that means. Celebrating 15 years of marriage is an amazing thing. And what better way to reward yourself for all of that hard work than to have something that you can look at and see every day?
Yeah, right. A constant reminder.
Right.
I love it.
Very cool.
Thanks. Well, thanks for noticing. Well, Kristin, this has been fun. It is always fun. I hope you have an amazing day. Viewers, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate you. And we will see you next time on Coffee with Kristin and Tina.
Bye.